Well, it's taken a very, very long time, but at last they found somebody who's prepared to chair the grooming gangs inquiry. They've chosen Baroness Longfield, who was a Children's Commissioner for 6 years, and here was the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, announcing this in the Commons today.
For years, the victims of these awful crimes were ignored. First abused by vile predators, they then found themselves belittled and even blamed when it was justice they were owed. The inquiry will be chaired by Baroness Anne Longfield. As many in this place will know, Baroness Longfield was the Children's Commissioner from 2015 to 2021. She has devoted her life to children's rights, including running a charity supporting and protecting young people and working for Prime Ministers of different political parties.
Well, they have a chair. I've got some reservations about this. Number one, this will all take up to 3 years, which may well be after the next general election. Plus, whatever her background as a Children's Commissioner, why pick a Labour peer? I mean, that will appear to everybody like effectively you're marking your own homework. And there'll be questions about her time, I think, as Children's Commissioner. Surely she must have received many, many, many complaints, concerns about grooming gangs. Either way, I wonder whether it was clever to announce that the victims panel is actually going to be scrapped when we've been told from the start that the testimony of victims was integral to the whole process. I guess it'll all come to a head on Thursday when those that are currently, the victims currently on that panel, will meet with the Home Secretary. But tell you what, I don't know. I worry we won't perhaps get what we want out of this. Let me ask you, is this good enough? Tweet #Farage on GB News or email farage@gbnews.com. I'm joined in the studio by Joe Phillips, journalist and former Press Secretary to Paddy Ashdown, and Sir Ranald Jayawardena, former MP and Minister. But first, down the line, joining me is Marlon West, father of victim Scarlett. Marlon, thank you for joining us. I know that your daughter was not just groomed, but effectively trafficked around the country to London and elsewhere. And this has taken a very, very long time. How do you feel about the announcement today?
I'm extremely disappointed. As a campaigner, more importantly, as a father, we've been asking for a judge, preferably a non-British judge. And then when I discovered that Dame Longfield has been named the chair, who also is, as you've said, historically a Labour peer, it's really concerning because we all know this. A lot of the areas where girls are groomed, including my daughter, are Labour run. And what we don't want is Labour scrutinising Labour. So It goes back to trust. With everything what's gone on in the last few months, survivors and families don't trust Labour. So we dubious straight away. However, that said, I do know that Dame Longfield has done some good work with county lines, but she's not done anything around grooming.
Yeah, I mean, that's my point, Marlon, and I just wonder whether we're going to hear, over the course of the next few months, that when she was Children's Commissioner, lots and lots of complaints on this came in. Marlon, thank you for joining us, giving us your view. And Marlon there, I mean, quite objective. He wasn't fuming or angry, but as he says, many of the areas in which the grooming took place, or child rape, should we call it what it is, for once, were Labour-run areas. Just doesn't look quite right with a Labour peer.
Well, she's resigned her Labour whip. But
she was a Labour peer this morning.
Yes, but, she's resigned it now. Anne Cryer, Labour MP, was absolutely at the forefront of trying to get attention for this years and years back.
She absolutely was. And funny enough, her son was on this show last week talking about that very issue. But does Longfield have any history in speaking out on this subject when she was Children's Commissioner?
I think the problem is, Nigel, that you're never going to get anybody who is going to please all of the people involved. Sure. This recommendation of Anne Longfield has come from Louise Casey, who was tasked yet again, because she seems to be the only person who can make anything happen. In fact, I don't know why we don't just have Louise Casey as Prime Minister and be done with it. And so she recommended Anne Longfield, who, as we know, has got a very good and commendable background in children's issues and particularly children's services. She's also joined on that panel by Zoe Billingham, who was an inspector of prisons and fire and emergency services. So there's two really good, well-qualified women, recommended by Louise Casey, who I would personally trust, and I guess Keir Starmer does, as did his predecessors in your government, Ranil. I think we have to wait and see. I think, as I say, you're never going to please all the people. The victims will want this. The other people will want that. We've heard this figure 3 years. Let's hope it only lasts 3 years. It was only last week, Nigel, we got another Hillsborough result, which told us nothing that we didn't know already.
I think the problem with waiting and seeing is that we've waited an awful long time already. I haven't got much confidence in this, have you?
No, I don't either. And, with inquiries like this, you've got to have the confidence of the people who have been wronged. And, you've got some of those victims saying that, these are their words, this is not an independent inquiry. How can it be independent of the government when the person chairing it is a former Labour government member? And, the truth is that she's not just been a peer for, the last year. She's also, whilst she was Children's Commissioner, actively campaigned against the Conservative government at the time. She's been partisan for years, and she's been campaigning most recently on things like scrapping the two-child benefit cap, rather than using her platform in the House of Lords to get justice for those who have been wronged. So I don't think the priorities she's set out, or indeed her track record, is very good. It's certainly not going to give a lot of confidence to those who want justice now.
No, and your feeling, Joe, you're actually quite sceptical about these inquiries per se.
Well, I am, because I think people ask for public inquiries without any concept of how long they last, how much they cost, and what very little they shine on things. I mean, Ranil, as we know, came up with a brilliant idea of a parliamentary inquiry, which I think you adopted.
Yeah, absolutely. Turn Parliament into a court and do the thing properly.
If you asked the victims, as I know you have, Nigel, what do you want out of this? You want, I presume, somebody to be made to pay for it. But that's not going to happen.
Yeah, look, I think what the victims... look, apart from the appalling crimes, and by the way, I'm not going to read out the rap sheet for Scarlett West, whose father was just... I'm just not going to do it. We've probably heard enough about these things. I think what they want is social services brought to account. What they want are local police forces brought to account.
Exactly.
And that is why, effectively, a judge-led inquiry or some sort of judicial process. And Ranil, I'm 100% with you. Why doesn't Parliament step up and do this?
I don't know. It's proven it can do it in the past on the Parliamentary Commission on Banking Standards around 2010, I think that was. So it's proven it can do it. I don't know why the government now does not want to adopt that sort of process for something as terrible as what has happened here. But, the truth is that unless things are done openly and transparently in this sort of instance, and unless they are done without the potential perception of political favouritism, a Labour peer not wanting to scrutinise Labour councils, this is actually not going to help the situation one bit. In fact, it could do greater damage if people perceive that it's been a cover-up. And that's what a parliamentary inquiry certainly would not enable to happen.
No, I'm absolutely with you 100%.
I just think, there are something like 20 public inquiries ongoing at the moment. We've got COVID, we've got Grenfell.
At huge expense, all of these.
We've got the post office, we've got the blood scandal, we've got so many other things, Hillsborough, which I mentioned earlier. And I just think we've got to stop this knee-jerk of thinking a public inquiry is ever going to provide clarity or justice or transparency.
Sadly, you're probably right. Now, I do have a statement from the Home Office on this, which goes like this. The survivor panel, which supported the Home Office during the set-up phase, was always intended to be time-limited. It'll be wound down in January. We work closely with victims and survivors throughout development, and that will continue. As we move into the next phase, victims and survivors will have opportunities to engage directly with the inquiry and through the separate long-term child sexual abuse victim and survivor panel that the Home Office is establishing. So we're getting rid of one particular panel and we're setting up another particular panel.
Like a U-turn.
And it all makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And I'll be frank, I've got no confidence in this working at all. I am sorry to say.